Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another early morning Sunday show with Cat and me. That's right, someone just hogged the spotlight immediately, and that's okay because it's all about the cat as we start to lick. All right, this is the show that brings an old guy showing you some old music, some new music. I got stuff from 1955. I have stuff from 2018. It's all here in one exciting episode. Oh, for God's sakes, why are you licking? Why do you lick? Dogs lick. Cats don't lick. All right, got it? Okay, hey, yesterday I turned 60. I am officially an old man alive, and that gives me some special privileges, so we say. So at age 60, I'm sorry, I'm just screwing with the cat. So here's my thought. At age 60, I am now allowed to be crotchety. It's official. I can be crotchety and get away with it. When you're 50 and you're crotchety, you're just considered being a dick. At age 60, it's just part. The guy's just a crotchety old man. Also, at age 60, I'm allowed to forget. And it's called senility. When you're 50 and you forget, it's called, well, you don't pay attention and you don't care. I got that taken care of now. Now I can forget and go, God, you're just getting senile. So I think there's some great benefits to 60. Got to find some more discounts. It seems like every time I get older, there's no more, the senior discounts seem to go up to 62, 65. I don't know why that is. It's still hard, but the movie theater lets me in cheap. All right, for a birthday present, I asked for nothing because every time I hit the 10-year mark, I go skydiving. So that'll be this spring. Head back out and do some skydiving. It's kind of the most fun thing there is to do in the whole wide world. Absolute adrenaline high. All right, let me give some shout outs to some new channels I've been watching. Wouldn't it be nice if I had it memorized? But I'm an old guy. I don't have to memorize a damn thing. Darn you. So here's a couple I've been watching lately. There is Richard's Digest. He's a newer channel out there. Take a look. I'll write their name down in there. Richard's Digest. Vinylova. I just watched hymns this last week for the first time. Vinylova. I think he has like 56. And then there was What's Spinning. John from What's Spinning. So 3 channels that I just got into. Okay. We got this video. There will be another video later today. There's a contest out there, the No Sub contest, I think it's called, where you show 20 record albums. I promised I would do that. And look, today's the last day. Well, I guess I'm going to have to put up 2 videos today. I don't like to give you too much steam, and I just did one a couple days ago, but there's some great channels out there. You know what? It's my way to support. And also, I get to just have a fun time screwing around and not have to worry about facts and crap. So, here we go. The cat seems to really want to screw with me right now. All right. This week, we are going to talk my first 3 albums. Edwin, the pretty green vinyl guy. Got my... Look at that. I'd show you this, but it's hard to show because someone's sitting on my lap. There we go. Look at that. Little miles going on there. I mean, I can do this in peace. So, we're going to talk a little Miles Davis, all right? I recently picked up some Miles Davis. I found one at a record show and then a couple on Carolina Soul auction site. And I was able to get them in. And so I'm really excited. You know, when I think Miles Davis, okay, he is a guy that just I enjoy. I mean, for me, he's probably my favorite artist out there. He's born in 26. He took up trumpet. His father was a dentist, and one of his patients, that was in there, said, You ought to teach your son, you ought to give your son a trumpet. And why? You know, he goes, no, trumpet's the way to go. So his dad, due to his patient, gave Miles a trumpet, and then his patient gave horn lessons. Maybe, what a great way to promote business, huh? But Miles took it up and found, wow, this man has a gift. I mean, he went to Juilliard and everything. You know, a couple things when I think about Miles Davis. First, you can compare him to Thelonious Monk in some extent in the way that Miles doesn't play lots of notes. You know, you'll hear guys just, you know, shooting all over notes. Thelonious Monk and Miles, they both, every note counted. They were special. And you made, so it wasn't how many notes, but the notes that you used made sense and brought your music a certain way. Yeah, I never considered Miles to be a trumpet virtuoso. When I think of that, I think Dizzy Gillespie. That guy's a trumpet virtuoso. But Miles Davis, this man was a talent scout, and he really knew how to spot talent and bring them into the fold. And that allowed him to change the course of jazz again and again and again. So really incredible person. So that's enough of that. So the first one we're going to show is his very first Columbia album. This is the very first one he did for Columbia. Came out in 1955, round about midnight. And you know, on this is the Miles Davis Quintet, and you know, it had, ready? John Coltrane was on sax, Red Garland on piano, Paul Chambers bass, and Philly Joe Jones on drums. This, you could say, is one of those all-killer, no-filler type albums. It really is an amazing album on Columbia 6i. You know, certain things. You know, there's a song on here, "Bye Bye Blackbird." "Bye Bye Blackbird" is pure, I call it cool sophistication. It's that awesome. Around Midnight is just, you know, it's a standard. Dear Old Stockholm, a standard. You could say anything on this album is a standard. Oh, great listen. Now I've said before, everything on Miles I have on CD, I'm buying on vinyl. Album cover's a little beat up, it's okay. Then, 1958, the Miles Davis did Milestone. And I would give the album cover a G, probably, maybe a G+. All right, Milestone. The first jazz supergroup was created. To me, that's what I would consider it, the very first jazz supergroup. And again, Julian Adderley Cannonball Adderley was on this thing. John Coltrane, Red Garland, Paul Chambers, and Philly Joe Jones. That was a supergroup, and this is the group then that the following year, of course, did, you know, Kind of Blue. Another just amazing album, amazing songs on here. 2 bass hits, one of the all-time favorite Miles standards. Straight No Chaser, Milestone, All Killer No Filler. And that one was also on the 6i Columbia. Then we have what you hear in the background right now. Miles Davis, Miles in the Sky. The dude looks badass, doesn't he? Talking about a guy that can dress. His girlfriend's dressed him up, helped him keep him looking cool. And Miles Davis always looked cool. So Miles in the Sky, when I look at this is his first foray into fusion. If you want to, if you're looking, you're thinking about fusion, you're looking at Miles Davis, this is when it kind of started. Herbie Hancock, I believe for the first time, plays electric piano on here. George Benson comes in, and for one song, Paraphernalia, George Benson plays electric guitar. So it really is the start of, shall we say, the fusion. This was the 5th of 6 albums that was done by the second Miles Davis Quintet. And here we have Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, Ron Carter, and Tony Williams were on this one. An incredible album. If you're, again, looking to get into Miles Davis, this is a great one to go to. Actually, all of these are really good. But if you want where you start to hear some of the electric, wonderful way to start. It's still kind of a little bebop going on, but fusion's beginning. So there. Really happy to get those, to add them to my Miles collection. It keeps growing. I keep looking for it. Not easy stuff to find, especially to afford. And that one was on, sorry, Fisher Straight Columbia 2i. It was older, right? All right, let's get into something more though, something more exciting. How about this one? Grace Jones, Night Clubbing. I have been looking for this forever. I had it in I taped it many years ago. I had it in CD. And whenever I'd go out looking, I kept buying the wrong Grace Jones album. For whatever, I had another one in my mind. I kept buying it. I had like 4 copies of a different one. I finally made sure I wrote this down. But Night Clubbing. This came out in 1981. You know, Grace Jones, she was born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1952. She arose from the ashes of Studio 54. You know, she was a huge part of that Studio 54 scene. You know, she was a model, been an actress, and of course a singer. So she came out of Studio 54. Disco was dying, and she did a couple kind of disco-y dance albums. They didn't do much. And then in 1980, she hooked up with Sly Dunbar and Robbie. Oh my God, Robbie Shakespeare. These were 2 reggae guys. I mean, she's from Jamaica. Why not? And they hooked her up with beats and also had a great way of finding songs that she could also do. So in 1980, she came out with her first one, was Warm Leatherette. And it had this real reggae sound going on here. And sorry, I tried to take these out of that plastic beforehand so you don't hear that. Oh, there wasn't much on there anyway. The album, this is a reissue, so I kind of like the label. Generally, most reissues, the labels just are boring as hell. That's a cool one. So this thing came out in 1981, Night Clubbing. If you ever picked one Grace Jones album, I think this is the one to have. Not only, she does Night Clubbing, which is from Iggy Pop, right? She does Demolition Man, a Police cover, which is really neat. And then she takes Bill Withers' Use Me and just rocks it, shreds it, tears it up. It's so good. You know, she doesn't have this voice that can hit the highs and lows. You know, it's just this lower, more alto that kind of gets going. But gosh darn, this woman can groove. So this is what a great album cover, huh? Night Clubbing by Grace Jones. I am so delighted to finally have this thing. That's one of those ones I play over and over and I never tire of it. All right, this next one. Sometimes an artist does something and you just scratch your head and go, what the hell were you thinking, dude? So Bo Diddley. Bo Diddley was on Chess Records, and you know he has that, shall we say, a bedrock of rock and roll beat. Bum ba bum 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 ba bum ba bum bum bum. The Bo Diddley beat, and you hear it everywhere in rock and roll. Well, obviously in the early 50s, you know, it became a hallmark of rockabilly in the early rock. In 1969, Leonard Chess died. Now, why that's significant? Because Leonard Chess kind of really watched how his artists went and moved and kept them in line so you didn't do anything crazy. Well, he died. And so Bo Diddley, they're trying to come up, well, what's going to be your next album, Bo? What should we do? And they came up with a great idea, and the album they came out was called The Black Gladiator. All right. I don't know. To me, it just looks like, is that Bo Diddley? Does this look like that was a great idea? Even 10 years later, you're going to say, damn, I'm glad I did that. This evolved because the people now at Chess were thinking, Bo, we need to update you. And who's big? And, you know, this is 1969. Who's big? Sly Stone. Sly and the Family Stone are huge. You need to be all about funk and psychedelic. This is Bo Diddley, for God's sake, a blues dude. You know, blues, rock. So they decided to update Bo's sound. And that they did. And they gave him a great new wardrobe to wear. Really exciting stuff. Wow. Now, I bought this just because I saw that album cover and just go, what the heck is that about? It is, you know, there is some good guitar. The organ is actually really neat. There's this really kind of a garage rock organ, funky organ going on. And, you know, he does the Muddy Waters. You can hear the Muddy Waters in there, and you can hear the Bo Diddley beat going on in there, but there's all this other crap that's also happening. So, historically fascinating album. Is it my favorite Bo Diddley album? Absolutely not. But how could you not love this thing? I mean, my goodness. So, Bo Diddley, once in a while, someone steers you the wrong way, maybe, and you come up with something like that. Goodness sakes. If the record label it was on Checker. Yes, Chess and Checker. Kind of like that. Dude, that's why are you climbing up there? All right, my next one has a neat artist. Guy, why are you? You're gonna mess it all up. There you go, buddy. All right, so the next artist, I have to have a note card to get her name right. All right, so here's the name of the next artist. Are you ready? Please feel free to write this down. We'll have a quiz afterwards. Angelique Capasloko Hinto Hasinu Kajo Matea Zagbin Kijo. Now we know I can't get simple names right. How was I going to get that one right? Hey, we need to have your first name for the driver's license. Not your first name. We need to have your full name on your driver's license. Passport? Gotta have your full name. I mean, you need a separate passport just to write the name on there. The driver's license would be 10 pages long. Isn't that neat? So, obviously aware that this name might be too long, she just calls herself Angelique Kidjo. And this is hard to see due to the glossiness of it, but it really is kind of just a black album. The back's really black. Angelique Kidjo is from Africa, from the country of Benin. Africa has a big hump, you know, on the, it would be, let's see, on the western side, and Benin is on the bottom of that. And she was born in 1960. She speaks 5 different languages, basically. There's a lot of languages in that country, and you had to speak them quite a bit. But a lot of French influence there. It was a former French colony. So, you know, she got into show business, shall we say, singing quite early. Her mother had a traveling show, and by age 6, she was a part of that. Now, Angelique, she's considered one of the top 100 most influential women. I found that to be fascinating. Also, what was it? Oh, no. There we go, senility. In 1983, she moved to Paris because she found she just couldn't do much in Africa. They couldn't record, there just wasn't much there, so she moved to Paris. And she's had a pretty good career, making a lot of different albums. But this one here, right now, it came to me. She's considered Africa's greatest living diva. So Angelique Kidjo is her name. In 2018, last year, she put this album out, and it's Remain in Light. She took the Talking Heads album, Remain in Light, and she redid it. She reinterpreted it track by track. Now, the beauty is she really kept it to how Talking Heads and Brian Eno did it, but she put that African influence on. She brought the African rock into this thing. There's a lot more percussion on here. The horns are really incredible, and her voice is beautiful. If you like Talking Heads, if Talking Heads is your deal, man, Angelique, right there, Kidjo, please look her up. this was a marvelous album. I'm a big fan of Talking Heads, and so I got this at a record show, and I'm telling you, it's a 5-star album. Really enjoyed it. You know, Remain in Lights is one of my favorite Talking Heads albums, and she does a beautiful job with it. Angelique Kidjo. Couldn't recommend that sucker enough. So we talk about different ideas. How about this one? Jefferson Starship. This is Blows Against the Empire. Blows Against the Empire, Jefferson Starship. Basically, it's Paul Kantner's solo album. He put this out in 1970. He called it Jefferson Starship, but Jefferson Starship really didn't form until 4 years later. But so it kind of is the first time it came out. Look at this thing. There we go. That's Jerry Garcia in there in that package. We got some flying boobs. How about that? All right, Paul Kantner did a, this is a concept album. And he really had some people help. You know, there's some people from Jefferson Starship. Grace Jones is on here. She plays the piano, does some backing vocals. You have members of the Grateful Dead on here. Obviously, Jerry Garcia, Mickey Hart's on here. Quicksilver Messenger Service has people on here. David Crosby and Graham Nash are on here. David Crosby was doing his solo album at the same time, at the same studio. So a lot of these people also went and were on his album. This is one weird album, man. I don't know. It went to number 20 on the charts. Boy, it's all right. So the concept is the counterculture. The counterculture decides that, you know what, we're going to find a better world, and so we're going to leave, and we're going to decide our own fate. So they get on spaceships and they go and they leave planet Earth. And you know, because there's revolution, and the revolution is against Uncle Samuel. What kills me is one track, it talks about how these babies are growing on trees, and well, when the baby's ready, you know, the baby falls off the tree, and then these happy young couples come up and they collect the babies. Wow, man, I'm telling you, I don't know what you take to come up with that kind of stuff, but the thing did win a Hugo Award. And the Hugo Award is awards given out for best science fiction writing. And so this got the Hugo Award for best dramatic presentation. The album, I mean, it's a cool artwork. It's interesting stuff. It even came with that's on RCA. The inner sleeve is interesting. You can see a lot of, you know, there's Garcia, Crosby on there within the inner sleeve. Creepy dog that smiles. And there was, not only that, ladies and gentlemen, there is a book, lots of art in here. I'm sure it's all about the concept on here. All the lyrics are on here. Bought it just for that. Interesting. All right, we're finishing up here. We have this guy here. Most of you know him as Bardemere Huerta. Okay, Freddie Fender. He changed his name in the 50s, and this is what Freddie said. He says, I needed to change my name so I could sell to the gringos. And so he changed his name to Freddie Fender. And, you know, he does, you know, known in the 50s for a really Tex-Mex, rockabilly Tex-Mex. And in 1958, he had his big hit, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights. And it took off. Well, in 1960, he got caught and arrested for pot, and they threw him in jail, hard labor, mind you, for 3 years. Well, when he came out, the rockabilly movement, Tex-Mex, is pretty much dead, so he went on to hard times. You know, he became a mechanic. He made $1.68 an hour. On the weekends, he would do parties for 28 bucks. But he went back, he got his GED, and he also went to a couple years of college. In the 50s, and that, you know, this guy was a migrant worker. You know, he went into Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, all over the place, you know, because he was a migrant worker. Well, this is his Before the Next Teardrop Falls. Basically, it's the greatest hits I picked up. It was a $1, but I like Freddie Fender. I liked Wasted Days and Wasted Nights. I bought that 45 in the 70s. It came back out. They reissued it and did quite well. Also on here is Before the Next Teardrop Falls. So just a Freddie Fender fan, thought I'd show that. My final one is from the artist Madonna Louise Veronica Sicione. I probably said Madonna's last name, but I picked up a couple Madonna albums. Had her on CD. When she was out there, I wasn't a huge Madonna fan because I wasn't big into dance in the 80s. That wasn't my deal. I did get into Madonna later on. A lot of her 90s and odd stuff I do have on CD, and it's like, let's pick up some vinyl. Again, disco was dead. Madonna brought, shall we say, dance back. She brought the disco back in. And you could say, she was, a lot about presentation. She knew how to present herself. She had the art of creating controversy and making it go, wow. She knew how to bring her name out there. She was good with that, but she also could sing, and she knew riffs, and the people that wrote for her and helped her knew riffs and understand riffs. So we had the very first album here from our Disco Diva. This came out in 1983, the very first one. This thing has hooks. It's filled with hooks. It's like a fishing trawler out there. Hooks are everywhere. A really incredible album, and MTV blew this sucker up. You had Borderline, Lucky Star, Holiday. Thing was hits. Then this one came out in 1986, and a lot of people consider this to be really the classic, True Blue. One of her, shall we call her, you could crown Madonna as a superstar with this one. This is when it all took on. And of course you had the controversy on here of Papa Don't Preach. The abortion rights really love that one. So, wonderful album. It really took her off. So, important person. Really, really is. And she always did spark controversy, but she made great music. Alright, that's our weekly update. Another video again will be coming up later on today. So, sorry for the extra Steve, but March 3rd's the deadline, so I kind of have to put out 2 today. Do that later tonight. Appreciate you joining in. Thank you for joining the old guy. Yes, sirree. Old people do get up early, so I can get up early. I can be crotchety as hell, and I can take a nap, damn it. And that's not called lazy anymore. Naps are what old people take, and we like it, and we love it. So, damn it, 27 minutes. Unbelievable. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining in on the update. Really appreciate it. Have a great week, and as always, thank you for subscribing. Not putting on the Mr. Rogers song because that was an earworm and I couldn't get rid of it for a week. Thanks, everyone. Have a great one. Bye.